Well, the Group 1s roll on. We've got a mega Saturday at Eagle Farm. This is Layback with Betfair. I'm Tom Haylock, joined by Trent Crebbin and Nick Lloyd. Lloydie, last week was a bit of a downer, I guess, but we're back with an epic Saturday. We can repeat a couple of the form lines and form previews we did last week, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. A bit of a take two, really, isn't it? A bit more time to get the form done. I know you were a little bit behind last week, so no excuses this week, mate.
No, it actually worked out well for me, so I was happy about that. Trent, welcome back. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. Probably you guys will just be repeating a bit of the same stuff. So I listened to the show last week and made my opinions there as well. But yeah, hopefully can add a couple of more bets and find a couple of winners.
Very good. Well, we're doing it a little bit differently this week, which is fantastic. But we'll do a couple of the races at Eagle Farm. We'll then come back in segment 2 with the 3 Group 1s. So look forward to that. As usual, we start with the lay-bin. Trent, you've had a couple of weeks to think about this. It better be a good one. What have you got for us?
Yeah, first time I've ever had to do this, and it is maybe the worst experience of my life. Selling anything on Marketplace or whatever is horrible, but selling a car is one of life's great horrors. Just messages after messages of people wasting your time and asking about all this stuff to never show up. And if it wasn't worth thousands of dollars, I would just get rid of it. But it's worth a bit too much to just to ditch. So selling a car is horrible, and I want to get rid of it. So anyone listening, hit me up.
I 100% agree. And then you got to deal with transferring money, when to get the car, when you receive the money and hand over the keys. It's an absolute nightmare. There's an idea there, business idea, Trent. Make it easier.
Yeah, surely. And then the third party places that say we'll buy your car straight off the bat offer you about a quarter of what it's worth. So
yeah, correct.
Someone's tried it and it's an absolute rort. So yeah, horrible experience.
We need a Betfair for cars, I reckon. Put up the price and you can match it. Yeah, and someone holds the money and let's do that. Are you using car sales or Marketplace or what are you?
Yeah, both. Paid for a car sales ad and have had no one reply to that one. So yeah, the whole thing's a scam. It's horrible.
And you're getting the messages, is this available 800 times a day, I assume. How good? Lloydie, what do you got for us?
I'm having a little bit of a stab at a few owners, mate. So last week we did every Saturday, the Leg Up does a piece of content for Betfair where it's a live reaction to our Saturday lay of the day. Last Saturdays, as sort of spoken about on this show, it was tabby time. And I woke up Monday morning and checked the work emails, and I had an email from tabbytime@hotmail.com on Saturday night. And it was one of the owners having a go at us, saying that we had no respect for their horse, cheering on other horses in the race to get their horse beaten. And I thought, well, how is that any different to them cheering the other horses in the race to get beaten and their horse to win? So I thought I'm sticking Tabby Time and Tabby Time's owners in the lay bin this week, mate.
That's incredible.
Watch your horse race, cheer him on. He's a ripper, but punting is sort of a game around opinion, and that was our opinion, that it was too short, and we were right. So, maybe if he had won by 6 with his head on his chest, they might have had a leg to stand on, but take your $38,000 prize money and stop emailing me.
I can't believe that. They've made that email just to email you. I hate, and you see trainers and jockeys message, but trainers get some of the worst emails from punters. It's awful, some of that stuff. So, that's a good lay-bin, Nick. I enjoy that. Couple of things. Ticket Tech for me and the experience. I don't know if either of you guys bought or tried to buy Ash's ticket pre-sale tickets, but they came out the early sale and it was an absolute nightmare. We had 4 or 5 people in the Betfair office trying to log on. They were 20,000th in the queue. You're waiting there. Your phone turns off. It's just a debacle. They need to sort out pre-sale and ticket sales better. And Ticket Tech as a company needs to be accountable and to not crash. And it always happens. So it hasn't improved for years. So there you go. That's just my little vet. Anything to add on that?
No, I know a few of my mates that were trying to get tickets that failed as well. So they weren't very happy on, that might have been Monday or Tuesday morning. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, it happens all the time. I can remember, I think we were probably like grade 11 or 12 trying to get, might have been like Ed Sheeran tickets when he was coming to Brisbane, and like our whole math class, like all the girls were sitting there like with laptops and phones on Ticket Tech, and like they stayed an hour behind after school because they still were in the queue. They're like, I can't close my laptop. So it's a frustrating experience.
We're in 2025. Be better. All right, let's get to the serious stuff. Eagle Farm, massive race day. 3 Group 1s, obviously, with last week abandoned or postponed. Rail moves out 2 metres, Lloydie. How do you think the track will play? Where's it sit in terms of weather and rain?
Well, mate, it is perfect weather. I was saying to Trent off air, like it is Brisbane Winter Carnival weather outside, like just not a cloud inside, chilly, bit of a breeze. So perfect drying conditions. We haven't had any rain since that meeting last Saturday. So we're going to have 7 days of sunshine and good wind. So I expect we get back to a good 4 by race day. And I think with that rail going out that extra 2 metres from the true last Saturday, I think every horse is going to get their chance. Still probably a little bit off the fence, but sort of last Saturday, those 5 races that we got through, if you drew inside, you were cactus, whereas this week, I don't think that'll be as much of a disadvantage.
We'll try and get through the last 6 races on the card, starting with race 5 and 6. Race 5 is the Queensland Day Stakes, a listed 1,200-metre race. Trent, we'll throw to you first, mate. What are you liking in the 5th?
Yeah, I think I'm aligning here with yourself, with number 10, Gerringong, Gayward Adrian Bott trained filly. I thought she was good first up at Scone. She's lightly raced. She's got a bit of upside, and she went back there from a middle gate. She drew okay, and found the line really nicely. The section was there, suggested she was every bit as good as the winner. I really like what the market did with her in her first preparation as well. She won on debut easily when well supported, and then was $1.45 straight to benchmark 72 grade, which you don't see too often. Won well again there, and then again in the market in that hot Sunny Coast slot race, won by Private Harry with Lady of Camelot there as well. So resumed there, was not far off her peak, and I think that run suggested that a new peak is incoming. So get Tim Clark on now, drawn wide, but I think up to 1,200 metres they're going to be a lot more positive, and really try and roll forward and offset that gate. She has been well backed early in this big field. I thought maybe you'd be wanting a little bit better than she's sub $4 now. So I might just wait and see what this market does, whether she gets back out a little bit. But yeah, I think this race is fairly limited. A lot of these have hit their mark, and I think she's definitely one that's got more to offer. So Gerringong, definitely the way I'll be leaning in race 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think she could be the best horse in the race if she's not already. I loved her return. Her best work was through the line and on the line. Her last 20 metres was outstanding there, up to 1,200 metres, and can be positive from that barrier. So I've got Gerringong on top. I agree. I don't really want to dive in at the price. So we'll see what we get, but clear on top of for me. Lloydie, which way are you heading?
I reckon this is probably the best 30-1 shot on the program, fellas. Horse number 4, Hella Fast for Kelly Schweida. I've loved two of his 3 runs back this time. I think you can just completely put a pen through that Gold Coast Guineas run on a heavy track behind Vizasto. But last start in the Derby, McCarthy, sort of the winner was Bellegardo. He was heavily backed and just landed in the plum spot and got the job done. Whereas Hella Fast drew wide. He went all the way back to near last, and he produced the fastest last 6, 4, and 2 of the day from an impossible position. I think there's a lot more speed here. He gets to 1,200 onto a bigger track, a drier track. The blinkers go on first time. I think he can settle a little bit closer and blend into the race at the right time. And around that 30-1, I'm more than happy to have a little each way spec on him.
Number 4, Hella Fast there for Nick. Let's move on to race 6, a listed race over 1,500 metres. I found this very hard, but I reckon, Lloydie, you seem pretty confident here you found the winner.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky race, but I've liked the 2 runs of Transatlantic back. I think he comes through the right races. He resumed in the Archer up there at Rocky, $1 million race. There's been a little bit of form out of that. There's been one subsequent winner out of it already, and then he went to the BRC Sprint behind War Machine, he's a $3 Stradbroke favourite. He drew wide that day as well, and had to do a little bit of work. But I think there's a bit more pressure in this. And even though he's drawn wide, I think he can still sort of slot in and get a nice run. 3rd up, 1,500, back to Eagle Farm, where he's a 3 times winner. I think he's going to be mighty hard to beat. Trent?
Yeah, I agree with you. Eagle Farm up to 1,500 metres looks really suitable. There's 2 horses that have a peak rating that's a fair bit above the rest of these, to be honest. And Transatlantic is one of them in that race at Eagle Farm. Over 1,400 metres is the Magic Millions Buffering or something, one of those open races that he won well. So he ran to 115 at Racing and Sports that day. The other horse with a rating of 115 is the top weight Desert Lightning. Now he's got to give these a bit of weight, but I thought he could be forgiven. I thought his first up run in the All Age Stakes was actually pretty good. He was out wide there and stuck on okay, beaten under 4 lengths by Jimmy Star. And then last up, dropped back to 1,200 metres in the Doomben 10,000. It's just never going to be suitable for him. Heavy track. And again, he wasn't beaten all that far. He's wanting more ground, not less ground. So gets to 1,500 metres third up. He's got a really good rating in a Sandown Stakes where he carried 59.5 and beat a lightly raced horse called Craig in Melbourne, who went on, and I think he placed in a Toorak behind Antino. So, and then Desert Lightning was 4th in that Toorak himself. So I think he's probably the best horse in the race. The weight suggests that he is, but I think he can be a quick improver, draws really well. So Desert Lightning and Transatlantic, the two for me.
I found this race very hard. I can spec a couple here. Number 14, Belvedere Boys, improved significant last campaign, won some strong races, including the shootout here at 2,100. So winner on the track, 1/6 of 14, lightweight goes well. But my main play might be number 15, Kitty Rose, first up from 272-day break, last start at Scone in the Dark Jewel. I thought it was very good. Got beaten a fair margin, but it was really good through the line. Drops in weight now from that, which I thought she was well weighted there. Second up here in Australia and up to 15. I think's a good throw at the stumps at a huge price. That'll do for the moment. We'll be back to preview the 3 Group 1s right after this.
Hello, Betfair punters. We're excited to introduce a new feature on the Betfair app, Follow Tipsters. This feature will allow you to follow your favourite Betfair experts and receive notifications when their betting strategies go live. By clicking follow and enabling notifications, you'll never miss a tip from pros like Terry Layton, Mitch Lewis, Jackson Oldham and Bella Anderson. All exclusive in the Betfair app, so download and get started.
Well, we are back with Layback with Betfair. Let's head to the Group 1s on a massive Eagle Farm program. We start with the Kingsford Smith. The Group 1 moved or transferred from last Saturday due to the big wets, and it is a fantastic race. Nick, how do you think the race will be run, mate?
Well, it'll be interesting because I think there's a couple that have come out and potentially a few more that still might. So, like, last week, we were mentioning Bezusto was going to be the map horse. Amina's come out. Private Eye's come out. He's another one that could have rolled forward. I believe Rothfire won't be running. So that kind of just leaves Zarastro for me, really, that looks the sole sort of leader in the race. Rise at Dawn from Barrier 1 can use that and get the drop on that horse. And it'll be interesting. Golden Mile, he's another one that sort of can roll forward and put himself there, but probably not as much speed as what we were talking about 7 days ago, Tommy.
Who do you like, mate?
I think we're all sort of in agreement that Jolie Star, she's the classed horse in the race. She's been super all prep. It kicked off with a good third in the Expressway, where she was sort of a little bit disappointing that day in a small field, did a bit wrong, but then she bounced back in the Newmarket. She carried 56 kilos and she bolted in to beat Headwall, who he went on and had a pretty good prep. I think you can forgive the beaten margin in the TJ. She was only beaten 2 lengths, but she was backed as if she was going to win that race. And then behind Jimmy Star, he's got a booming turn of foot. She beat Home Sunshine in Paris, a subsequent Group 1 winner in the all-aged. Antino was back there, so plenty of form. I thought her tick over trial was fine. She's going to land sort of a little bit worse than midfield, but I think Clear Air's the key, and James McDonald is certainly the man for the job. But there is one at big odds that I think can run well that I spoke about last week. And that
you haven't jumped off, mate.
I haven't jumped off. No, I probably would have preferred it to be a little bit better for him, because that would have brought him right into it. But I just think the 3 weeks between runs is even more suitable for him, to be honest. So he's going to get back Barrier 12. He'll be on the back of Jolie Star, I would imagine, and he's just going really well. So around 19, 20 to 1, I'm happy to sort of have a small ticket on Payline.
Number 10, Jolie Star, and number 6, Payline there for Nick. Trent, you agree? Jolie Star just the best horse of the race?
Yeah, she probably is if you're looking at the last 12 months or so. Giga Kick at his best would be the best horse in the race, but we haven't seen it for a fair while. He was okay, like it was just a pass mark if you're being generous in the Goodwood.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, like I think the weight thing maybe was a little bit overplayed in the end, and I probably fell into it a little bit as well because I ended up backing him. that it doesn't really matter if you're not ready to go and you're not fit enough and you're not there. It doesn't matter what weight you're carrying at the end of the day.
It's
You
an
still got to be
interesting
there
point,
to win
Trent.
the race.
Yeah, the stable came out and said he was ready, and he trialled twice over 1,000 metres, so he looked ready. They looked a lot more intent than when he was returning for a race like the Everest in the spring, mate.
Yeah, they did. I don't listen to trainers because they always say their horse is ready, and yes, he can go off his jump outs and everything like that, but at the end of the day, he's going to improve with racing no matter what. So he can improve, but he'll need to a lot. Jolie Star clearly on top. This drying track, I think we're probably going to be looking at getting to a good 4 soft 5 is really suitable for her. She goes really well fresh as well, so I don't mind the gap between runs, and 1,300 meters is pretty much perfect for her. I think there's a chance that she actually looks to go forward from the draw as well. She's drawn wide, but I just wonder, there's just no speed, and J-Mac might just look to slot in here, to be honest. So I think she's clearly on top. I couldn't really have Payline. I don't like that Doomben 10,000 form. It was a bunch finish. Sunshine in Paris was good, but the race was one of the lowest rating. I think I did an article for it. I think it was the lowest rating Group 1 sprint that we've seen in this century,
Wow.
apart from the Winterbottom Stakes in Perth, which was only a couple of run below that rating. So I thought Payline was suited. He got back in the field, but he was suited by the pace on. It was just an ugly race. I thought the one that might be a place chance was Zarastro, just getting that uncontested lead. He can bang up a decent rating on his day. Like his peak a couple starts back at Gold Coast ran to 116, which is what Sunshine in Paris won the Doomben 10,000 in. So if he's kind of, getting an uncontested lead and sticking on, he likes Eagle Farm. He's won 5 from 10 here. He'll be a danger of some sort. I think Giga Kick's short enough at second favourite. So yeah, Jolie Star clearly on top, and I think Zarastro will run well.
Jolie Star, for me, best horse in the race, in my opinion. And I like Rise at Dawn, love the trial. That was a sensational piece of work. It looks the value in the race for me. So could back 10 Jolie Star and number 8 Rise at Dawn. Let's head to the Oaks. And last start, Nick, I think you did as well, Trent. We all laid Benadryl. Was it Trent? I can't remember. But we're all against Benadryl, and I'm sticking with that. I'm laying her. I don't think she looks the winner. She was well beaten by Filia there. I also am laying Filia, boys. I don't know what you think about that. I know, Trent, you're pretty keen on her. There's just so many form lines through this. Now, Pinedo took ground off Filia in the Princess Stakes prior to Filia winning the Roses. Pinedo went to the Gold Coast, won that gold bracelet on a weird and pretty wet track there by a huge margin. How's this for a stat, guys? Pinedo has run the fastest final 800, 600, 400 and 200 in her last 4 starts. That's of the race, and 7 of her 10 career runs. And that's including runs over 1,000, 1,100. She's run the fastest 800, 600, 400 and 200. So she's got to turn her foot. I think she'll stay. I think she's in the mix. I thought Jenny's Meadow and Moving Out were as good as Filia last start in the Roses, and I just think Filia's too short. So I'm laying Benadryl and the smaller lay on Filia. Lloydie, how do you see the race, mate?
Yeah, I'm sort of a little bit against you. I think Filia she can win.
She can definitely win. I just think she's short enough.
Yeah, she probably is. But in saying that, like she's been really well backed in all 3 runs where she's sort of banged a few together, and just I know like sort of Trent just said he doesn't listen to trainers, but David Van Dyke's one trainer who I find like he's very he's obviously very smart, very intelligent, and just like he doesn't seem to get carried away too often. But post race after
he got carried away there.
He sort of made it seem like she had plenty up her sleeve, and you go back through it like Pinedo was peeling ground off her in that Princess Stakes, but Filia was 6 weeks between runs there, whereas Pinedo was 4th up, and she was still holding her late. And then in the Roses, again, she was a month between runs. She went forward. I think the fastest 200-meter split was between the 18 and the 16, and she still sort of had the audacity to run one of the better last, I think it was one of the better last 200s of the race or of the meeting from in front when, there were a few eye catches behind her moving out. Jenny's Meadow, 2 of those. So, look, the wide draw, it might be a negative, but I think she's got the ability to sort of absorb some of that pressure and cruise over, find the front. And now she's only 2 weeks between runs. This is clearly grand final. I think I think she's the clear horse to beat. But there are two at bigger odds that I want to have something on. I thought Churchill's Choice was good behind her in the Roses. She took on the boys to start before that and ran well in the Queensland Guineas, and she had no luck first up. She's bred to stay. She was caught off the track in that Roses and still fought on pretty bravely. And one that's sort of got a little bit of I suppose, a similar profile to a winner of this race a few years ago, Emakura. That's a Claire Encore for Chris Lees and Damien Thornton. I don't like the barrier, but I thought she was good at Ipswich over 2200 last start. That was a heavy 8. She got back. I think she can settle a little bit further forward, and she just brings that little bit of different form. So she's one at big odds that I could have something small each way on.
I'm a little bit concerned, Nick, and I'll throw to you, Trent, because you like, or you don't like Filia, but Nick, Shangri-La Impact, I think, works forward and just adds a bit more pressure into the race. So I can see Shangri-La Impact's got a chance as well, but that's just a little query for me as well for Filia, but doesn't have to lead. She didn't lead, obviously, a couple of starts ago either.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think she necessarily has to. So she'll be there. And, Shangri-La Impact's drawn 19, so that could just work out perfect. That could be the card across that she needs and just sort of let it cross and slot in and get the sort of run of the race, second or third, if the Gaybot horse wants to lead, which you'd probably think they will with Timmy Clark on board.
Trent, you kind of line up. I can make a good case for Jenny's Meadow to turn the table on Filia, and you agree?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that I think Jenny's Meadow should almost be favourite here, shouldn't she? Like, her run in the Roses was clearly the run of the race. She got a mile back. Her sectionals were outstanding. I thought Filia was good. The pace was solid without being over the top. And I thought the kind of sectionals were saying that she was well ridden. She was ridden efficiently, whereas Jenny's Meadow wasn't. She just got way too far back, hit the line strongly. Once you kind of adjust for those sectionals, I think Jenny's Meadow was the run of the race. I think she can settle a lot closer as well, drawn inside now. This has been her target all the way through, whereas a couple of others, like a horse like Benagil, she's almost had 3 grand finals now, which I'm not suggesting there's going to be any more improvement to come. So, yeah, I love what Jenny's Meadow did late last start. Think she can settle closer. I'm surprised that she's not almost battling Filia for favouritism off that race. And she ran past Moving Out last start, who was good again late as well, but she's bigger than that horse in the market as well, which is just crazy to me. So Jenny's Meadow clearly on top for me. I think, she's what, $9.50 or something thereabouts. I think she should be about $5. I think she's a good bet.
Do you take the so I was going to say, do you take like the sort of starting prices out of that Roses like into much account there? Like, obviously moving now, Jenny's Meadow was 30 to 1. Well, Filia was like a well-backed favourite. Do you think that might be a little bit of the reason that?
I think that is the reason.
Necessarily found it.
Yeah. I think that is I think that is the biggest reason why there's not that much of a discrepancy. But I think what Jenny's Meadow has been doing all prep has been really good. Like, I really liked that run 2 back at Caulfield as well behind Mary Eliza. She hit the line strongly there from back in the field. And if Mary Eliza had managed to get to the Oaks here, it just came up a bit too quickly for her. I would have been backing her as well. So I just think she's just been having prep runs all the way through, and that's probably why she's been big odds, is that she hasn't really been set up to run well, and now she really is getting to 2200 meters and drawn closer. So yeah, I loved what she did late last start. Filia, I've got no real knocks on. I've got maybe a slight question on if they do run a strong 2200 here. Yeah, like I said, I thought she was ridden very well to win last start. Can certainly win again. I just think Jenny's Meadow was the one that should be a lot shorter.
Yep. I agree, Trent. I think Benagil's too short, and I think Filia's too short as well. Can lay them both, as we said. Just quickly, the Derby, Queensland Derby, the Group 1 2400 metre race. Nick, we covered this race last week. I've written about 1,200 words of notes on this race. It's one of the hardest races I've ever seen. But you and I somehow aligned on a roughie here, one at double figures. So you led the way with the Derby.
Yeah, mate. Party Crasher. I'm actually probably more keen on him this week than I was last week, to be completely honest. Which I don't know how you promote a best bet. Like, what's the next level from best bet? Because that's what he sort of is. Like, in hindsight, he probably couldn't have won last Saturday because he's drawn barrier 1 and that heavy track and those inside lanes were completely cast. Now he's had an extra week up here in Queensland, a bit more sun on his back, a bit more time to acclimatise. I think barrier 1 won't be an issue. He can save all the ground, I think he's going to be awfully hard to beat with that turn of foot that we sort of spoke about last week. He was able to produce, off the top of my head, it might have been the second best last 200 of the meeting at the end of 2,200 metres last start, and the second and third horses backed up and Quinella the race the week later. So, we've even seen another subsequent winner out of the run 2 back, Beach Pad. He came out and got the job done at wherever they were in Adelaide on Saturday. So all the form around him good. He's the different form. I'm still keen to be against the rough habit form. And so I'm going to add in an extra play for the race, and I'm going to lay Bell to Tell the place. Chris Waller, James McDonald, I think they're searching for record-breaking Group 1 wins this season. But I can't have her. She's drawn the car park. Maybe J-Mac will try and settle a little bit closer, but I don't really see how. I think they'll ride it quiet and try and get over the top, and I just don't think they'll be able to. So I think she might be an eye-catching 6th or 7th.
Yep, I agree. I'm laying the favourites and with you there on number, was it 14, Party Crusher?
13, I think.
13, yes, 13, Party Crusher. I agree for all the reasons you pointed out. We liked it last week. No reason to jump off. It's an impossible race. I don't like the rough habit as a form line. As I mentioned last week, Firm Agreement and Imperialist, like, they're not the right form, surely. Second horse was a huge price. Imperialist came into that rough habit after running 9th in a Guineas, beaten 6.5 lengths, and 15th in a Derby, beaten 14.5 lengths, and Firm Agreement ties in through that Derby. So I just found that a bad race to do the form from and lean into, and happy to be with Party Crusher. I could make a case for number 14, Rogan, and number 11, Cintalante as well, off the Adelaide run. So just an impossible race, laying the favourites and something. Number 13, Party Crusher. Trent, anything from you there, or we move on?
If I was going to be betting in the race, I thought Imperialist actually wasn't the worst. Maybe a heavy track thing played into it last time, but I've always had a bit of an opinion of him. I backed him in a couple of Melbourne lead-ups at Caulfield and Moonee Valley. And I just think he was finally ridden like a stayer last start. And he was, I backed him in the Derby as well as 200 to 1 or something, or whatever it was. And they just ride him so quietly, but now they've actually ridden him in front. They're going to do it again. Maybe he's actually a bit of a different horse and you just judge him on last start. And the other one I thought, if you're looking at Rogan as a play, which is big odds again, but I thought the Muffin Man was probably the run of that race in Melbourne. Started favourite, just got flushed out 4 wide the trip, no cover on a good tempo. 2-9 hot out of a High Chaparral mare. I think he'll stay strongly. So yeah, Imperialist and the Muffin Man would be the 2 I'd be at least including in your quaddie, but it does look very tough.
All right, that will do for this segment. We'll be back after a short ad break for a couple of sporting tips and our best bets and a couple of final thoughts on Eagle Farm.
Stay ahead of the game with the most up-to-date betting insights, track conditions and bias, scratchings, late market moves, and more. When it comes to betting, having the most up-to-date information can make all the difference. That's why we've introduced Betfair's Late Mail, the most informed tipping service on the market. Delivered by pros like John Walter, Glenn Ingram, Sean Byrne, and Bella Anderson, Late Mail provides expert insights closer to the jump, helping you adjust your strategy with the latest information and data at your fingertips. Late Mail is exclusive in the Betfair app, so simply open the app, follow Late Mail tipsters, and enable notifications to be ready when our pros send in their late bets. Stay informed, stay ahead, bet smarter with Late Mail.
We're back with Layback with Betfair. Trent, a massive weekend of sport coming up. Are you an F1 man, mate?
I am, yeah. I watch pretty much every race, whether it's live or the next morning, but yeah, do enjoy it.
Yes, Piastri into $1.68 at Betfair for the World Drivers' Championship. He's absolutely on fire. It looks a 2-horse race. Verstappen, obviously, in a bit of controversy last Grand Prix, out to $11.50. But Oscar Piastri, after starting second favourite, he is into $1.68 there, which is incredible. We've got Roland Garros continuing as well. Alcaraz into $1.95. Jannik Sinner, $2.72. If you don't follow Steve Quick on Ace Previews on Betfair and the Betfair app, do so. He's the best tennis expert there is. He's an absolute jet when it comes to tennis form. You can follow him, turn on his notifications. He's found plenty of winners in the French Open. We've got the women's draw as well. Samolenka and Swiatek head of the market on Betfair. Sport keeps going, mate. The Crows, Friday night, coming up on Friday night. Trent, you're an Adelaide man. $1.67 versus Brisbane, $2.46. Can the Crows get the job done in an absolute blockbuster on Friday night, mate?
Yeah, I think they probably deserve to be short, narrow favourites. That's what they are. They're really coming along nicely and back at home. Brisbane are starting to kind of turn things around a little bit as well and put their hand up. So yeah, it's probably one of the bigger September pointers that we've had for a while. So yeah, hopefully the Crows can get it done and kind of cement themselves in the top four.
Nick, you're not a Brisbane man, are you? You're a
No,
Brisbane
not
supporter?
really. No,
No?
I'm a league man. I'm probably in the AFL. Like if I had to pick, I'd probably be a Cats man. One of my good mates is a Cats supporter, so I've sort of just jumped on his coattails. We're at the pub watching them.
Oh, we don't like that. As I mentioned, Adelaide $1.67, the Lions $2.46. They're Friday night, mate. Melbourne Storm versus North Queensland Cowboys. Storm $1.23 coming up, and the Cowboys $5. Who do you support in the NRL, Lloydie?
I am actually. I'm a Storm supporter, mate. So I've sort of been out.
Not very patriotic, are you?
Yeah, I know. I copped that a little bit, but no, they're going well, ticking along nicely. The boys from Melbourne. So I would say at home on Friday night, they should be justifying that short quote against the Cowboys, who they're a bit hot and cold this season. The Cowboys, they're very hit and miss.
Few teams like that at the moment, and obviously with State of Origin, the teams are a bit mixed up, but Storm head into Friday's game as short price favourites there. Don't forget, Nick Tedeschi provides tips on all NRL matches. We've got Andrew McCulloch as well, 300 game superstar of the NRL on the app. Follow him on the Betfair app. Joel Cashman and Joel Williams also providing tips on Betfair for the AFL for every game as well. Joel Cashman is. So follow them if you don't already. Plenty happening in the world of sports. That'll do. We'll throw it a break. We'll come back with best bets, our Hamburger bets. Hopefully we get an absolute fill up with our best back and lay in the same race. And we finish off the card and final thoughts at Eagle Farm coming up shortly.
Hello, Betfair punters. We're excited to introduce a new feature on the Betfair app, Follow Tipsters. This feature will allow you to follow your favourite Betfair experts and receive notifications when their betting strategies go live. By clicking follow and enabling notifications, you'll never miss a tip from pros like Terry Layton, Mitch Lewis, Jackson Oldham and Bella Anderson. All exclusive in the Betfair app, so download and get started.
We're back with Layback with Betfair. We wrap up Eagle Farm on a massive Group 1 Saturday. 3 Group 1s, as I mentioned, the Derby, the Oaks, and the Kingsford Smith over 1,300 metres. Great day of racing continues at Eagle Farm as we go through the Winter Carnival up there in Brisbane. We finish off with race 10, the HELEN COUGHLAN Stakes, a listed race. I found this a very tough race, Lloydie. I'm glad you've done the form and found a winner. It's form from everywhere.
Yeah, it's a very tough race, mate. I won't be getting too involved late in the day, but I just thought Tashi might have been a little bit of each way value. I thought she was good first up off a 6-week break behind Infancy, who she meets 3 kilos better at the weights here. She was beaten less than a length that day. Commemorative was there, so that was not a bad race. And then last night on a heavy track, she ran very well. She ran City of Lights to a half ahead kind of thing, and I thought that was probably the right kind of form. Back onto a dry track suits her, I think, and from barrier 5 she's just going to get a really nice run in transit under Karen McAvoy. So around that $11-12, I thought Tashi was not a bad little each way bet, but nothing to get too excited about.
Gee, it's a tough race. Trent, you had a look at it?
I have, and found it very tough. I do actually we've got a kind of weight adjusted ratings here at Racing Sports, and Tashi is the last start highest rated horse, and by a decent amount, by a few pounds as well on that last start. So yeah, she's pretty handy on a day. She's going well. I certainly wouldn't talk you out of her. I thought Kin is obviously a bit of a kind of doesn't win too often, but is going well. She's got a host of ratings that are very competitive. Comrade Rosa is another one with form right in there. I thought Bubba's Bay might be an improver, was in that market first up at Hawkesbury. That I think Kim was in there as well, and probably first up heavy track didn't go too well, but she's 5 from 6 at Eagle Farm, which I think is somewhat noticeable with Eagle Farm. I don't tend to take too much notice of these track stats things, but Eagle Farm, from what everyone seems to tell me in Queensland, is a bit of a horses for courses kind of deal. So I thought she could be a big improver. Bubba's Bay, she goes well second up as well. She's got ratings that are in the finish.
Nick, with number 9, Tashi there, and Trent kind of agrees. Good ratings. So I want to ask you, if we've got time, about your ratings and what pounds mean in that system for racing and sports. Let's get to the Hamburger Club. But before we do that, actually, Lloydie, any other winners across the card? Same with you, Trent. Anything we haven't touched at Eagle Farm or around the country?
Not really for me, mate. I honestly haven't had much of a look at the earlier couple of races yet at Eagle Farm. Just sort of got those 5 or 6 races that we've spoken about, but hopefully we find a few.
Plenty of winners to come. Trent, we'll start with you because you have looked elsewhere and around the country, and you're laying an interesting mare.
I am, yeah. So I'll head back to Flemington for my best bets of the day. I think race 5, the Vobis Mile, is where the Hamburger comes up and the lay of the day. So 2 horses I backed at their last start. Number 3, Jimmy the Bear, and number 5, O2 Good. I thought Jimmy the Bear was pretty good last week. He comes here on the backup. On the backup. Yeah, he's backed up a couple of times and run pretty much up to what you'd expect he should have run. So I don't think a backup's an issue for him as well. He was only second up. But I thought O2 Good at Sandown was just disappointing. I really liked her off that first up run at Caulfield where she got back, hit the line strongly in a fast run race. But I really thought she had every chance at Sandown. She was well backed and just the last 100 was really weak. She ended up finishing 4th. Now meets Jimmy the Bear like at weight for age, and I think she's got to really improve her rating to be beating a horse like Jimmy the Bear, who's pretty consistent around this mile mark. And I think if he runs his rating, she's going to have to improve a fair bit. So yeah, they're about, take your pick here, 270, 280 a piece. I think Jimmy the Bear should have a clear edge on O2 Good in race 5 at Flemington.
It's race 5, Jimmy the Bear, and laying O2 Good for the Hamburger. Hopefully get an absolute fill up there. Jimmy the Bear, I backed him last Saturday. It was a good win. Lovely horse. Nick, where are we heading for your back and lay in the same race, a.k.a. the Hamburger, mate?
We'll go to the race 4, the Moreton Cup at Eagle Farm, boys. I want to lay Front Page. He's a grand old horse, but he hasn't
I love him.
since I was in diapers. I think we've got to go back to October 2023 for his last win. He's, in saying that, like he's run second in a Galaxy. He's been Group 1 placed in that time. Like you'd love to own him, but I just want to see him win one again before I'm taking $3.50.
I backed him in that listed race down the Flemington Straight, and he led until literally about 2 centimetres before the finish line and got nabbed. Still makes me sick. Ray Magnerio getting his head down there.
Yeah, so look, he can win. I just thought a little bit too short, and there's a little bit of tempo in this race that might sort of be against him. I wanted to back a little deep. I thought she was really good in her sort of first 2 runs this prep. She's had a little bit of a freshen up, but she was a good winner at Flemington. She beat home like a couple of mares that day, Zazu and Bossy Nick, who have both been going really well. And then she went to Adelaide and she started right in the market. She was sort of spec'd odds early in the week when markets first went up in that Sangster Stakes. And then she jumped around that $12, $13 marks. She was beaten only a length by Charmstone, Amina, Commemorative. I think any of those mares would be right in the market here. She gets a nice run from barrier 7. Craig Williams on at 53.5 on her back. I think she'll take a little bit of holding out late. So that's the Hamburger this week, mate.
Love it, mates. I'm going a real wide Hamburger, and I'm actually backing 3 horses to beat the 2 favourites in the Oaks. Jenny's Meadow moving out and Panito, and laying the 2 favourites. So hopefully we get a fill up there, and it's hamburgers and chips and fries and cokes and drinks all around, and the family can have a feast. Extra pickles for you, sicko, Trent. Let's move on. Best bets, Lloydie.
Yeah, we'll go to the Derby. Race 9, horse 13, Party Crasher. I think in the words of the great Ron Duffy, he can only run well.
Oh, love it, mates. Trent, your best?
Yeah, I'll go back down to Flemington race 8. Pretty keen here. It's a big field, but really like this horse number 7, Chocolates. I was really keen on her last start at Sandown, and I had a good crack each way, and I thought that she'd run 3rd, and the connections thought that she'd run 3rd, and I'm pretty sure they did the post-race rundown thinking that she'd run 3rd, and I thought she'd run 3rd, and it wasn't until 10 minutes after the race that I realised that she'd missed out by a nose and run 4th. So that was me in the lay bin and them in the lay bin. And
sick.
Yeah, so yeah, that was horrible. Anyway, she was really good there. She got shuffled back and probably just outpaced at a mile. She's a daughter of Shocking. She's assistant to Horrifying, who's a 2,800 metre horse. Yeah, really like her, getting to 2,000 metres now. The sectionals last start were outstanding. She stays down on the 54 kilos. Draw middle of the pack, she can settle closer. And yeah, she's got a bit of upside. She did run in a wake full behind Treasure at the moment in her first prep when she was, very quickly to 2,000 meters. So yeah, really keen on her third up, getting to 2,000 meters. Ratings there, sectionals are there, profiles there. I think she is a great bet.
Race 8 chocolates there for Trent. I'm pretty keen to play. I like Party Crusher as a bet, I think, over the odds. I think Kitty Rose is the best roughie of the day, and Jerry Gong can win, but tough day for me. What's on for the weekend, Trent? What are you doing, mate? Anything exciting?
Well, I'll be watching the Crows hopefully demolish Brisbane tomorrow night, and then with Racing Sports, I've got a table at Flemington Chairman's lunch kind of deal on Saturday. So it's a rare weekend that I won't be actually on the tools and working.
I'm sorry I asked, mate.
Yeah, so I'll be rubbing shoulders with the finest at the VRC, but yeah, that'll be good, and hopefully watching a few of my bets at Flemington get up as well.
Lloydie, what are you up to? Heading to the track?
No, mate, we'll be in the office Saturday. Hopefully, cheer home a few winners and try and dodge any unhappy owners when hopefully the lay gets beat.
Best of luck. Tune in to Sunday Betfair Edge on Sunday as well, with Miles and I dissecting the races and having a bit of a laugh. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you for joining us. This has been Layback with Betfair. Stay ahead of the game with the most up-to-date betting insights, track conditions and bias, scratchings, late market moves, and more. When it comes to betting, having the most up-to-date information can make all the difference. That's why we've introduced Betfair's Late Mail, the most informed tipping service on the market. Delivered by pros like John Walter, Glenn Ingram, Sean Byrne, and Bella Anderson, Late Mail provides expert insights closer to the jump, helping you adjust your strategy with the latest information and data at your fingertips. Late Mail is exclusive in the Betfair app, so simply open the app, follow Late Mail tipsters, and enable notifications to be ready when our pros send in their late bets. Stay informed, stay ahead, bet smarter with Late Mail.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.